Biomechanics of a soccer kick. Purpose of a step-in soccer kick. So a step-in soccer kick can be used in a plethora of situations. It can be used when trying to score a ball into the net, when someone is doing a corner kick, when a defender is trying to get the ball to someone across the field, and more. All of these need a powerful and accurate kick in order to reach their target spot. The approach. To produce greater lower limb velocity and ball speed, the player should approach the ball at an angle of 45 degrees. The run leading up to the ball should be forceful so that the backswing has enough power to be transferred into the ball. Backswing and planting foot. The backswing begins on the last stride of a player's run just before striking the ball. The athlete cocks their leg backwards while the opposite leg extends in preparation to plant beside the ball. Assuming the player is right-footed, the ideal position of the planted foot is 5 to 10 centimeters to the left of the ball. If the foot is planted any further than that, the direction of the kick and the kicker's balance has a higher chance of getting offset and resulting into a failed kick. The arms move away from the body in order to increase stability as it helps keep the center of gravity over the supported foot, and it contributes some force into the movement. When the foot lands beside the ball, the knee flexes a little bit so that it increases the player's stability. There is a lateral rotation ankle of the plant foot causing the body to lean away from the ball. The ankle of the kicking foot needs to be plantar flexed in order to hit the ball with the laces. The kicking leg is extended and the knee is flexed to store elastic energy and allow a greater transfer of force to the ball. At the end of this phase, knee extensors experience eccentric contraction. Hip flexion and knee extension. Here the thigh is swung forward and downward with a forward rotation of the lower leg. The leg then begins to accelerate the transfer of momentum and release of stored elastic energy in the knee extensors. Hip rotational torque, hip flexor strength, and quadriceps strength also help with the speed. The knee extensors contract to swing the leg and foot towards the ball. After the kicking leg makes contact with the ball, the knee is extended and the foot is plantar flexed. The opposite arm to the kicking leg is raised and pointed in the direction to balance the rotation of the body. The faster the leg accelerates forward, the stronger the force applied to the ball and greater the velocity and has greater velocity as stated in Newton's second law. Foot contact. Foot contact can last between 6 to 16 milliseconds depending on the ball's inflation. This period of contact is important as it dictates the ball's speed and trajectory. The body leans away from the ball to compensate for the swing of the leg in order to keep balance. The ankle of the kicking foot must be in full plantar flexion and locked so that all the force can be transmitted to the ball. The ankle of the plant foot maintains lateral rotation as the weight of the body shifts due to the swing of the leg. The knee of the kicking foot is just coming out of flexion into extension. The left arm swings medially in order to keep balance and produce extra force. The follow-through. This serves to keep the foot in contact with the ball to maximize the transfer of momentum and therefore increase the velocity. This part of the kick is very important as it maximizes foot contact with the ball in order to increase or transfer kinetic energy. The kicking leg of the player naturally comes to a stop because of the pull on the hamstrings. So without the pull on the hamstrings, the leg will continue in motion and that could cause injury. This takes us back to Newton's first law. The kicking leg then returns back to the ground, followed by the plant leg, and both arms return to the body's side as the follow through is complete. Here I'm posing as a beginner. I came at a 45-degree angle. I started off with my chest leaning in. However, I kept leaning in as my foot made contact with the ball. So my chest was above the ball. This disturbs the effectiveness of my shot. When shooting a powerful shot, leaning backwards changes the angle of your torso with respect to the ground, which changes the height your foot will naturally go when kicking the ball, which makes it go higher. Here you can see my kick was not that powerful as it could have been. I had a right shoulder retraction and right arm extension, but I did not have a medial swing of my left shoulder. I planted my ankle beside the ball at a reasonable distance, but my kicking foot did not follow all the way through. So here's my brother as an intermediate, and he started off with his chest leaning forward and had his eyes on the ball, but he did not start off at a 45-degree angle, which is again optional but preferred for velocity and force purposes. He approaches the ball with speed, however, he plants his foot a little bit too far from the ball on the left side, which affected the force he was able to produce and therefore affected the velocity of the ball. It appears there is no lateral rotation in the plant foot, but he did have plantar flexion in the right ankle. At the point of contact, he had trunk flexion, slight bend in the left knee, right arm extension, had extension of the right knee, right arm had extended backwards, and left arm had swung forwards. However, he did not have a good pelvic rotation, but overall he did good. So for the pro, I got a video of Ronaldo's kick, and you can see that he has plantar flexion of the right ankle, extension of the right knee, right shoulder retraction, right arm extension. He locks his ankle beside the ball and he follows through with his toes pointing where he wants the ball to go to, and it does go there, which is the top right corner. Another good thing that he does is that he strikes the ball in the center, which helps with accuracy, and he also lands on his striking foot, which is the right foot, which is part of a proper follow-through. Stability. A soccer kick is done with the base of support of only a single leg, which makes the player balance weak. To compensate for the small base of support, the height of the center of mass is lowered as the knee bends when the foot is planted beside the ball. Here. The line of gravity is shifted from the center of the body to the side of the plant foot in order to ensure that the kick balance is maintained to withstand the force of the kick. When performing a good soccer kick, you must be able to have a good shot while being stable. Production of maximum force and velocity. To kick the soccer ball, you must swing with your trunk, then upper legs, followed by your lower legs. Maximum force and velocity can be achieved by using all your joints and using them from largest to smallest. Hips, knees, ankles. Conservation of angular momentum. Once the ball is kicked and the soccer ball is airborne, the angular momentum will remain constant as long as the ball is free in the air until an outside factor such as the gravity or weather factor brings the ball back to the ground. And this also relates to Newton's first law of motion. An object at rest will remain at rest unless acted on by a force. Impulse. The greater the force applied by the leg as well as the more time the foot comes in contact with the ball due to a long and powerful follow through will result in a greater impulse. A good follow through makes all the difference in the speed and power of a shot. Following through on a shot allows for the ball to be in contact with the foot for a greater time interval. The follow through causes a significant increase in the applied force, which will result in a higher velocity or speed in the ball. Torque, angular motion torque. When you kick the ball, your leg moves in an angular direction to produce more torque to move the ball. Hip and knee torque are very important factors when it comes to a forceful soccer kick. An increase in inflection slash extension and adduction slash abduction of these joints will accelerate and help produce a higher swing velocity. And then direction of force application. The movement occurs in the opposite direction of the applied force. As the player pushes his feet down into the ground, the player ends up moving up and forward because of for every action there is an opposite reaction. This is also Newton's third law. Now you may ask yourself what muscles are involved when performing a soccer kick. There are numerous muscles involved, and here are some of them. So we have deltoid muscles in the shoulder. It has lateral, posterior, and anterior fibers that work together to produce movement of the arm. We have for the calf the gastrocnemius, which flexes the knee and foot. We have for the shooting side, we have hip extension, and more specifically, we have the gluteus maximus and hamstrings. For the abdomen, we use our rectus abdominis, the back, the latissimus dorsi, and the teres major, and the sides, external and internal obliques.